4/11/18.
Make a motion to approve 3/21/18.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4/11/18.
So moved.
411, I have just a comment on that. It was something I mentioned to Tony. I saw in here that currently the
Can you just get a second first, then we can comment? We just get a second, then we can.
Second.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
There's a comment in here, currently the contingency fund is 436,000. This is 10% of the contract cost and quite high. And my feeling on that is, so what? We're not gonna spend it just because it's high.
What, is that what happened at the meeting?
That's what was said at the meeting, but should we just leave it at the 10% of the contract cost?
That will translate to that 436 or whatnot. Okay. Yeah, I have no problem with being in there. It's just that I'm not concerned about it because hopefully we're not going to be spending any more than the 30,000 that we've already spent.
But the minutes are just, well, said.
I agree.
So we don't need to change that, just need a motion in a second.
Right, need a motion and a second.
Move the question.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Abstain.
Abstain.
All right. Senior Center, what we have, Tony, you're on.
So we had I think a nice groundbreaking ceremony the other day, well attended, went well. As the project currently stands, we are excavating and looking forward to our first foundation footing concrete pour, probably on Monday, which means we've concluded all of the ledge and building debris excavation from within the footing building footprint. We have a couple of exterior piers where the portico comes off the building that still needs to be dug, and various utility trenches, which we still seem to be encountering ledge as they dig the various trenches. So based on that, we're quantifying each day what comes out of the ground, whether it's unsuitable soil, just soil that can't go back in the ground, unsuitable in a classification that has building debris in it, or trench excavatable ledge, rock, mostly rock. So segregating various piles over there, monitoring the contractor's excavation. Terracon, who is the geotechnical engineer, is out on site making sure that the contractor removes to a suitable base, in some cases deeper than what was called for on the drawing, but making sure they get down to good bearing soil before they come back up to bottom of footing level. Those reports are being addressed in the field. They're also being sent to the architect, his engineers, site civil, and everybody involved in the project, making sure that we're on good stable ground as we start to build the footings and build the foundations.
Tony, how are they excavating ledge? Are they blasting, or do they have a tool?
It's a very shale-like ledge, so it spalls apart in these thin layers.
You can rip it out.
As long as you grab the edge of it, you can just keep peeling it, but you can't do anything with it. You know, you can't use it under berms, you can't use it anywhere, it's just rock.
So Tony, how much ledge of what was the initial amount, 300 yards?
So we are currently sitting about 500 cubic yards above what our contract called for digging and removal in the footing area. And we had 300 yards of unsuitable soil as an allowance and 300 yards of ledge. Currently, the total excavated piles somewhere about 1,500. So we're roughly 500 over what we had in the contract documents.
What's that gonna cost?
60 for, 45 for soil, 85 for ledge. And so we're breaking those up and quantifying them. I don't have that amount just yet.
That's per ton?
$45 a yard.
Oh, yeah.
$85 for ledge.
Substantial.
That's ledge and trench, 65
Ledge
for
and
ledge and
trench.
open. 65 for ledge open.
45.
17,000?
45 times 500 is 22 grand. Some soil, some ledge, so.
I thought I saw a calculation for 5,000 or 6,000.
Say again?
I thought I saw a calculation for 5,000 or 6,000 to
Then-
dispose of it off-site.
We're only over by 5 total.
That's what he did.
I did 500 times 45.
But it's not all 45, some of it's higher
Yeah,
than
no.
that.
Right, some of it's higher, and that's 500 times 45 is 22.5.
22,005?
But we own some of it coming out of the ground. The unit price calls for material excavated out of the ground in addition to what the contract called for. So in your change order log, looks like this in the report. I've started 2 lines. Number 7, which is trucking excess soil. So where geotech says you gotta go deeper than what's contracted, that's excess soil. 8 will be unsuitable material, truck and dispose only. He owned digging it out of the ground, right? He owned digging that footing. What we intended was for him to be able to put that back in the ground. If he can't put it in the ground because it's got building debris and other stuff, or it's just unsuitable based on the type of gravel, and Yankee does the Proctor Sieve analysis on it, and Geotech says, no, that's unsuitable to go back in the hole, but it's not building debris, that gets quantified separately. So these are the numbers that you're looking at now, all in that $3,000 range.
So the $45 per yard is not the right number then, because, okay.
Is there a decimal point shift there?
Yeah, I think
It's like
that,
$4.50 a yard.
Right.
okay.
Because we owned digging it out. Excess beyond that.
Well, it makes us feel a lot,
It's like, wait a second, that's a lot of money.
Was there allocation in the original contract for blasting? And did they know that they're just gonna be able to rip it out?
No.
There was
There
no
was,
blasting.
there was an allowance for 300 yards of rock, and that was an estimation. Of course, we didn't know where it was. We only had 6 or 8 borings in the area. So you never know where it's going to be.
Okay. Thank you.
We're also looking at the possibility that, if the rock was soft enough and he removed it with common means, we might also prevail that this was not even rock, it was just earthwork. So we're fighting that. We're going to argue that too.
Not that it matters, but I saw Leahy trucks up there. Where was that all going? Looked like some pretty good loam up there on a couple of those trucks that were heading
Got that
up.
loom they had to get rid
So
of?
the loam was going to whoever, Leahy or whoever they were trucking it to. Butch had them meet up with somebody,
The local
I
guy.
think from
over-
Sterling, he
Butch is
brought
here.
out. Oh, hi Butch. Did your guy from Sterling end up taking some of that soil?
I don't know, I left it up to Mark on the site.
He came to site and said he didn't have any room for it. He
All
said,
right.
thank you, but no thank you.
All right, we took some too, we took some back to the
Couple other things going on the town side. Electric department's been out there working on poles, bringing in the new electric service, setting the poles, taking the old pole out. Water, looks like we will not run that through the ball field. The water department would like the tap further down by where the driveway is and to come up through the old driveway, which will be a slight change there. We don't have the exact route, so I can't tell you it's 300 feet of trench versus 250 that we owned, or what the offset is there, but if we relocate that, there will be additional trenching involved.
Would it be possible to, excuse me, to reopen that field?
For,
This year? No. We still gotta get the underground electric.
there would be no place for anybody to park using that field.
And the problem the contractors, and that we are all having, is somebody continually goes in there every weekend, tears down the orange caution fence that's all around it, and pulls out the stakes, tears down the orange fence just about every Monday. He's photographing, he's calling the police, they're coming up, they're writing the report. But somebody's definitely trespassing in there every weekend.
Can we put like a GoPro there or something?
Some type of camera.
Good.
So the police know about it, they're gonna keep an eye
It's
on
the
it.
contractor's
about it.
responsibility, and he's
up to him.
looking at the option of a camera.
2 weeks ago, somebody cut the chain on the fence, well, they didn't cut the lock, but they cut the chain, which was nice, so you were able to not have to buy a new lock.
But go figure,
but
the lock was unlocked.
We found out who did that.
No, we found out who locked it up after. That was but who unlocked the lock? Because he couldn't have locked it up if it was.
Whatever, so the police know, they're
Yep.
keeping an eye on it, it's up to the builder, up to the contractor.
So turning your attention back to the executive summary report, I did include in here a planning board section. I've gone through their order of conditions, I've addressed the items that they've asked to have addressed. I'll do so on each monthly report, and I will email it back to the planning board so that each members get it, and that's already gone out. So I don't think that I need to put a hard copy in the inbox downstairs, but I will double back with the chair of that committee and make sure they are as happy as they can be. And make sure that we're satisfying the requirements.
And Tony, the Eversource line here about
Yes.
sourcing the gas from Prescott versus Horseshoe, what's the motivation for that?
So our friends at Eversource would like not to have to find and pressure test and go through whatever they would have to, only to find out that maybe that line isn't suitable. They'd rather just come up Prescott Street because there's now gas line that they feel is suitable,
That's
and
brand
they'd
new.
rather come off Prescott. That means an entirely new trench for us and more money that you would have to pay to dig their trench, because they don't want to dig the trench. They want you to dig the trench, which is another trench through the ball field, up and around the back of the building, as opposed to using what's there. My call to him today was, if you're already of the mindset that you're not going to be able to use that line is already trenched, is or is not sitting in ledge, because you would have dealt with the ledge the last time. If we go out and start digging a new trench, we know we're gonna hit ledge in the ball field. I don't want to open up another trench. Either use that line, or you go pull your old line out and use your old trench. That would be the wise thing to do. He was going to look into it. He doesn't think they have a crew. He doesn't know when they could schedule a crew. And so I'm continuing to talk to Eversource to hopefully use that existing line or replace it in its existing trench. That's my next goal.
There was an initial concern from the gas company that the gas line was too close to the new proposed sewer line. You're required to be 3 feet away. The closest we get is 7 feet, so there is no concern with that.
So construction-wise, we are over the hurdle of ledge and unsuitable soil within the building footprint.
But not for utilities.
Not for utilities. We're probably a week and a half behind what was originally scheduled, where we should be with construction, but hopefully we get the foundations moving next week, and everything should be following along, and it's not that detrimental to the overall schedule. Yankee is on board for next week to do concrete cylinders and all the normal testing. I did receive an email from Anita asking about the potential to go back after F&D, and that's just not something that I would have knowledge of or experience, going back after a previous contractor some 3-4 years later.
Were you able to find the,
Yep. So we have the scope of work, and we've got the packet. Scope of work on the bond. So I put it on the agenda tonight to see if you recommend that we try to put a claim against F&D
For what specifically?
for the excess cost of the removal, disposal of the debris material that's being pulled out, because the scope of work for them clearly showed that they were supposed to remove all debris assumed to be part of the former building and any other materials.
How much would that portion be, just what we're talking about there, roughly? Not
3 to 5 grand.
I think it would cost us more in legal
Probably would cost us a couple grand, I think, for legal.
to make a couple grand.
Let's hold on to that till we get exact costs of what's gonna cost.
Okay. That's why we're segregating 3 kind of source piles and quantifying when pipe and other materials come out. There was conduit, block, concrete, steel, just things that shouldn't have been there.
If we were to choose to not pursue this, is there an option for putting out a negative review on the contractor?
Yeah, somebody probably would have done that
Not sure
right
he's
after
a-
the project was completed.
Not sure he's a DCAM
Yeah, I
contractor,
don't think he would
so
have to
site
be.
contractors don't have DCAM evaluations.
At the least, we ought to have some sort of documentation, an invoice or something, that we can at least send to them so that they know that we know.
That's a good point, too.
Hopefully, they'll, do the right thing.
You could just send them a settlement letter, say, we spent this much picking up this much, without going to attorneys, pay us half.
Well, we want to be careful here. First of all, we need to photograph the pile,
We have.
right?
Yeah.
So that we have suitable documentation, so that we have incontrovertible evidence that this actually occurred, and it's your responsibility, so you should pay this. They probably won't, but
And you, the town, will look poorly on them bidding future work within the town,
These are the people that knocked it down.
for whatever it's worth.
yeah, but
You're trying to tell them, hey, I know,
yeah.
This was
you know
3
I
years- this
know,
was-
and, you know,
Anybody asks me, I'll tell them.
That's a good-sized company, too.
It was
Are they?
it was 4 years ago, roughly?
Yeah, it was
Where they
2013.
headquartered?
2013.
Yeah, 2013. We haven't
Millbury.
used them since. I don't think they're
Millbury?
thinking we're a big customer.
Millbury?
What's the
It
name
used
of
to
the
be a
company?
Millbury.
FND truck.
14 Bracken Road, Millbury, Mass.
FND.
F&D.
Fred and
From
Dave.
Zillow.
Oh, yeah, I know that
Did
site.
they do the pool too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we don't know what's gonna be buried in, oh, that was all above ground, so really, there was nothing, not much underground. Unless they dug the pool underneath.
okay.
We won't know that till we,
So lastly, yes, right now we're tracking about a dozen change orders in the magnitude of about $30,000. And on the second page of your executive summary, we're looking at current anticipated variance of $403,000.
That's presuming the 30K in change orders?
That's all I have.
Payment of a special? Oh, Terracon proposal? Well, I'm sorry, John. I mean,
That's okay.
the bottom of-
That's okay. Everything that Tony just said, plus, we are processing submittals, a lot of submittals at this particular point, they're all coming in early in the project. So we've collected samples and colors of the exterior elements of the building, siding, roofing, aluminum colors, there's not a whole heck of a lot. And we need to show that and get someone to say yay or nay to it. We can't do it indoors because you have to be outdoors, so I have everything in my car right now, if you want to go out to the parking lot, all of us, or we can set it up tomorrow at the site, whoever is available and wants to take part in the site. What's your pleasure? How would you like to do this? It's siding, roofing, aluminum trim, gutters, window color.
I would not be any help. I would not
Look
be
at
any.
everybody jumping to pick
I
colors.
would not be
Last
any
time,
help.
he said, I recommend this, and this, and we went with it, and the police station came out great, so I would defer.
I think Lisa definitely needs to be there.
I mean, even if she, she can be there, but I don't know how much you're gonna wanna say if he says colors are good. I mean, I
Some
don't,
members of the subcommittee and Lisa?
yeah, that's,
Okay. If
Well,
anybody
when
has
are we
any
gonna do
interest,
it? Do we know?
excuse me,
When is it?
when is it?
Yeah,
You want to do it
The
tomorrow
meeting, the
morning?
meeting tomorrow,
9 o'clock.
the job meeting's at 9.
so we're gonna pick colors tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah, so I can
At
be
the
there at
same-
8:30 if that's better for anybody, or you want to...
I'm actually officially on vacation. Can I look at them tonight?
Sure. They don't look good in the dark, but if we get out of here...
I'll have an idea.
Go now. Go now, brown cow.
Actually, if it's a subcommittee meeting, though, it's better not to have a quorum of any group. Maybe we can put the burden on Lisa.
Okay.
No, it's the.
Anything else to report? Go pick
I
colors.
don't know what that means.
I mean,
I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what that means.
Well, subcommittee meetings require posting.
So
So-
so that would, he's saying at the site meeting.
Would it be considered a site?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, then it covers under construction site meetings? Okay, then you're good to go.
Okay.
But Lisa will
So
not be
I
there,
can
so
do
you should go do
Lisa, we
that.
can review it tonight, and then I'll start to everybody else tomorrow.
Uh,
The other thing that we have among the submittals is lighting. So,
What was that? I'm sorry.
lighting, interior light fixtures. We had, I think, just in front of the subcommittee, talked about light fixtures in one of our meetings. And we have,
I'm sorry, you said the subcommittee, or you sent out an
love
email?
subcommittee.
During design, when we
During
were
design.
having
Way at the beginning.
subcommittee
Yeah,
meetings.
during
at
design,
the
we had
beginning.
light fixture
We
options,
went
we
through
looked at
lighting.
them. We've gone through them, they all came in the way we asked for them, but we sent out a package to the subcommittee, and Lisa indicated that the light fixture that we selected for the great room was, should have been different. I don't recall the conversation that she's recalling, but we want to basically return the submittal for lighting, and we want to come to a resolution. Do we want this fixture or another fixture? Is this something you want to discuss at the whole table, or just go back to the subcommittee? Okay.
Are there substantial differences in costs?
Unknown.
When do you need to know that by?
Realistically, light fixtures, I probably have a couple weeks.
I thank
So
you.
let the small subcommittee look at it, and if it needs
we'll
to
have to-
come back.
That will have to be posted when we're ready to have a meeting.
Okay.
I thank you for the 72-page PDF on that.
Yeah. I get those all the time, I have to review and approve them, so,
I didn't print it.
yeah. What's that?
That it? All right. Site work status.
Site work status, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Gas line we're still working on, water's moving into the driveway. Electrical is being fed probably over the next couple weeks. They'll get that up beside the building. Site footing is all done. They've started on trenching the sewer line down to Horseshoe Drive.
Swale, we have a design, we have a design from the site designer on the restoration of the swale that was inadvertently turned into a small highway. And we've given it to the contractor for comment. Contractor says, gosh, that's a lot of trees. That won't matter, we're going ahead with it, and we're having the contractor proceed. He'll probably proceed under protest. But we have a design and we're proceeding with
And
with
the
that.
planning
portion.
board wanted to see that?
The planning board stepped back and said, this is really
They
not a
left it
major
up to
thing, we
Bill.
trust you to get it, put it back. So we don't have to take this to planning board.
Why would they do it on the protest? Why would they?
But we do have to submit
Because
when
they
we're
actually
done.
think that
Yeah, show them what it.
taking a 20-foot path down the swale is equivalent to hand clearing the swale.
20 feet, yeah.
All right. Terracon proposal.
So you have a proposal tonight on the table from Terracon for doing the geotechnical inspectional additional services beyond their initial drilling, boring, and geotechnical engineering work that was included in the contract document. So basically, once we started to hit rubble and needing to over-excavate in the building debris, we needed Terracon to come out, as I've been describing, and determine what suitable soil is, what depth we're excavating to. So it's a time and material contract for that hourly service.
They're gonna tell you if they can use it, the scraps from the,
So they basically determine with the contractor on a daily basis what goes in what pile. That's junk and building debris, put it over there. That will have tested, may go back in the hole, may go in the drainage area, may go in swales or non-structural areas in the parking lot. Others that just need to go off-site.
so they have something on site all the time?
Yes.
The value of the contract is $140 per hour, and the mileage, plus mileage of 62 cents per mile. The estimate that the total on this would be about $2,250 for 3 partial days and 2 hours of submittal.
Does 3 partial days sound right?
Where do they, I mean, and not that it's a lot of money, where do they get the mileage rate? Why isn't it the federal government rate?
Yeah, 62, I thought that was high.
Well, it is high. Federal government rate's 53 cents.
Right.
I mean, it's minuscule, but,
Right.
I mean, that's,
I'm guessing that's that
If you can get it, then
by what I get the
government rate probably.
government rate in my check. I'm assuming,
They mark it up.
and
Mark it up with
most
G&A.
likely other companies do, because my previous company did. I don't know what this company does that I work for, but they charge a higher rate so that they can pay the employee the federal rate.
So would this have been necessary if we weren't encountering the assorted building debris?
it was still, well,
You would have had cursory review.
But a large portion of this additional $2,000 is a result
Yes.
of that.
probably.
And
So as far
by
as the damages that we're going to be calculating, this should be in there.
Yes, and I would recommend, if you're gonna have a not-to-exceed number, I would go higher than that.
Because it's likely to be more than 3 half-days.
So in my $30,000 of anticipated additional cost, I'm projecting $5,000 for Terracon. Because we're gonna have them out there when they start digging ledge, which they've already hit ledge in the sewer line today. So we're gonna need them out there for more days.
So they're at $2,000 for now, so you wanna almost double,
Not
you wanna
to-
double, you want more double, so you want to not to exceed
I think you
5,000.
should go 5.
So a motion to, not to exceed $5,000
So
for
it'd be time and
Terracon.
material not to exceed
Correct.
5,000.
Yeah.
Who's the authorizing agent? Who polices that? Will that be you?
Yeah, I know when they're out there and how long they're needed. And so if the contractor changes operations and says, we're not digging footings, we're gonna go do something else, we cut the guy loose. Good thing is, he's local on another job, so he's been able to plan half-days when he needs to, and just go to the other job for a half-day, which is not far from here. So they're good to work in that relationship where we've been able to say, fine, just come for a couple hours while we dig X, Y, and Z.
But
Not
are
back
you
to a
engaging
whole day
them,
rate.
or does the contractor engage them?
That's the
When
town.
you say
town.
engage him, you
Bring him in at whatever point.
It's an agreement with the town.
Yep. He's a
you are the
professional.
contract.
I understand that, but who is authorizing him to come in and spend those hours?
I call
You
him,
do.
based on what the contractor says he's doing today, tomorrow, the next day. Don't need you for 2 days, come back on Monday.
Similar to what you'll do to a concrete tester who's going to
Same
test
as
concrete.
with Yankee, yep. Sure. So Yankee's got a will call on Friday for Monday, in case weather goes bad, but right now they are planning to come out for concrete pours, rebar inspection and concrete on Monday.
Right, so we have a,
Motion, a second, anybody?
Second.
any other discussion on that? All in favor?
You mentioned we hit ledge today with the sewer,
Yep.
same type of material, shale type.
All right, payment of inspection fees?
So we had a request from the building department that we authorize payment of the inspection fees for the inspectors. We, as a town, waived the building department fees, but the local inspectors, meaning electrical, gas, plumbing, they get paid by their fees. So it's per amount, so I think it's 35 for one of them, I don't remember the other dollar amount, but it depends on the, it's per inspection. So, we'd have to figure out how many roughly that would be, but It was the same, we must have done the same for the police station.
I don't think so.
I think we waived all the fees for the police station. I don't think we paid anything.
So,
I believe,
Was
I
that-
Unless there
believe
was
the
some
ones,
internal cross-charge, I don't remember it
I
coming
think we
up.
did just we waived the ones that don't cost us extra.
right.
I have a
And that would
feeling
be
we
the
might
building
have,
department.
I have a feeling we might have done
I
this,
don't
but
remember.
how many-
How many inspections are there? Like electrical
Rough
inspection, the
and finish.
underground?
Rough
M-
finish,
MEP.
underground, above ceiling,
So, and you don't know how many times they're gonna break it up, but it's just,
half a dozen each,
I was gonna say 6 or 7 each, yeah.
safe.
So roughly,
I went to it too.
say
500, not to exceed 500?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, it can't be that much.
There's 10,
Gas, plumbing, and electrical.
they're $35?
You're
Oh,
not
6
doing
each?
Building,
6 each?
that's 18.
So 20 would be 35, would be 700.
So I
350,
want to not to
700.
exceed 1,000.
Yeah, let's just say 2,000 to be safe.
Sure.
Well, I mean, we're gonna pay, we're gonna, if we
You're only gonna
have to
pay
make the
what it
decision, are
is.
we gonna pay the fees or are we not gonna pay the fees? It's the town that's charging us the fees.
No,
No,
we
no.
pay the town pays the inspectors, not
Understood.
on a salary.
Right, understood, but I mean, it's,
So we either pay it from here or it comes out of taxes.
Right.
The way it's being paid by.
Well, I think it's fair, it should come out of this budget, though.
I agree, but do we need a not to exceed? We know what the process is. Do we need to put a not to exceed number in it? It's not like
As
we're
long
gonna
as
get
Tony, I mean,
charged
as long as they don't say,
$20,000.
we need to do 25, but Tony will watch that.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
You would know if it was
The contractor
excessive.
doesn't
Right.
want them there any more often than.
Right.
Okay.
So I'd say-
Can we find out what we did last time around? If we're adding a couple of grand onto this contract
I
without
don't think
knowing
it's gonna be,
why?
I don't think
Going
it's.
through the books,
I think they took a
With-
hit for the police department.
with Leslie and Bonnie, there was never a charge from the building
We didn't- we
department
didn't
that I
charge-
saw.
We didn't do anything for them. They did it internally. They must have just passed it on.
So why a change of practice? I mean,
This is a request of the building department.
Because the building department said this last project, we had to pay these people and there's no money to pay them.
Right. 'Cause
I don't think it's gonna be the 2,000. From what Tony says, it's gonna be less than 1,000.
Yeah. and-
6, 12, 18, 20, going on 20, so.
So if you want to amend the vote to just say, yes, the committee votes to pay the inspectors' fees, whatever they are, out of the project budget, fine by me.
Yeah.
I'll plug a number in to the budget allowance of $1,000, and hopefully we'll be under that.
So we had a motion.
Second.
So
well,
I'm doing it with-
revising the motion,
We're not gonna, we didn't have a- I don't think we
No
had a
dollar
motion.
amount, we're just saying
Just to
we're
approve.
paying.
authorizing payment of the inspectional
Yeah,
fees.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay?
Website updates.
Are there specific things that you want to make sure get up on the website for this next report? Lisa, are you going to be working with Tony again to run the questions through? Are there anything, is there anything special that you want to have up on that?
Well, maybe if we, once we take pictures of the progress, something like that, and put them up there. I don't know what else we do. What else we do.
Do you know anybody with a drum?
Is this similar to what I was
Everybody's
sending
taking pictures
to?
with drones now.
That's a good idea.
I'm trying to get someone to come up and call
That's a good
somebody.
idea.
Okay.
All right, anything else, other? So we have the barriers at the top of the slope coming up to Horseshoe Drive. These are the bollards.
Bollards?
Is that
Bollards?
what we're talking about?
Actually,
Is that
it's
the
at
top of the
It
slope?
should be at the bottom of the slope.
Bottom.
The barriers is what?
They go down the bottom of the hill,
Yeah.
at Horseshoe Drive.
Okay.
Bob, you had requested that this be on the agenda.
Yeah, I did, and we kind of chatted about this before the meeting, and I think that I would like to see us just simply put big stones there. Heck of a lot cheaper than spending, they proposed, I think I saw the figure $6,600.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about at the entrance to Horseshoe Drive?
Well, I'm not sure.
No, where Horseshoe Drive, between two houses, there's a sidewalk that comes down
Yeah.
from there, and what we're trying to do is prevent cars and vehicles from going up that, like a driveway. So we had talked about putting bollards, steel pipes there,
Right.
maybe with a chain in between them to keep vehicles out of there. Bob's suggesting, rather than pay for steel pipe bollards, if DPW has access, put a couple large boulders there.
Well, I talked to Butch about this a couple of weeks ago. He said he might be able to get a couple of bollards and
You
have
can
them,
install the balls.
install them, so.
Wait, are we gonna go with a chain, though?
I wouldn't put changes.
No, just
Make it
balls.
close enough so you can't get a car through it.
Right.
Right.
So how big's the area, the opening?
Well, I mean, we're trying to keep them off the pavement. If they
5 feet?
go up,
4 feet?
or
Oh, that's all it
otherwise-
is?
10, 12 feet.
Yeah, so you're gonna need what, 4?
The pavement is?
Right now,
It's wider than,
we've gone down
A lot
to
wider.
3 or 2, 2 or 3.
we've gone down to 2.
Okay.
But for the discussion, the $6,000 that I estimated is not simply for the 2 bollards. That change order, request for change order proposal was for the additional anti-seep collars. It was for additional trees along the abutters and the bollards.
And the gate on the dumpster.
And the gate on the dumpster.
So if we just do this for the bollards, the DPW will take care of the bollards,
Sure.
and we'll leave the rest of it for the bid. What, is that fair?
Yeah, so you're looking like a 4-inch galvanized pipe,
Yeah, concrete filled.
concrete fill painted.
This is a long-term, this is not just during the building phase
Yeah.
that we're talking
No,
about.
they go in after we're done with
Or boulders if you have.
utilities,
Bollards or
sewers.
This is the final.
Combination of both.
They'll go in next year.
Now, how about some shrubs or trees or something there too? Can you, instead of just, so all they're gonna see on Horseshoe Drive are these 4?
No, I mean, you see them everywhere.
No,
Bright
just-
yellow
That's what I'm
fluorescent
saying.
tape on them.
Why wouldn't we just also put some trees to buff the, for a buffer?
I would suggest you take a ride down there and look at the area and come up with a resolution.
Because
No, I'm letting Butch do that.
it's in asphalt.
We were trying to save money.
Oh, it's on the street?
You want to,
No, there's a sidewalk,
is
probably about
asphalt.
4 or 5 feet wide, asphalt sidewalk that goes up the hill through like a trail. The kids used to walk up to school that way. And of course, on either side of it, because we're doing excavation and putting stuff, it's now much wider. People might be inclined to, wouldn't it be nice to have a vehicle up there? We're just trying to,
Yeah, I'm okay with what,
Whatever we do, we ought to, I mean, if they're taking down the engineering fence and cutting this chain, we want to make sure that whatever we put up there is going to do the job that we want to have done. And if it needs a bollard and a boulder on each side of it, because there's clearance to get by outside the bollards or whatever.
whatever.
no more than $10.
Yeah.
All right, and the claim for F&D, we're gonna wait and see what we come up with, okay? Police station.
Real quick on the claim for F&D, is there a way to quantify the time that Terracon is spending on identifying so you're tracking Terracon's time on top of the cost to dispose of time?
Specifically, each of their reports, well, you have
I mean,
samples
you can break it
of
all
the
up.
daily field reports that I do when the inspectors were there, where he directed them. He writes a separate report to the architect and engineer saying, we hit engineered bottom of footing at elevation, whatever. Unsuitable soils were removed to an elevation minus 3 feet, 15 feet long. So you're getting all of the calculations, all of the photos that support that.
But,
Yes, you're able to track his time
So-
accordingly.
and so that'll have a 0.2 hours or 0.4 hours or whatever it is associated with it, okay.
And you'll have my hours too. You can
Put a
send
bill
them.
with it, and we'll-
Well, but that, I mean, I'm just curious.
I mean,
That
if you want to
contract,
build it up, you're gonna hit a pretty good size
Yeah.
number. He's got extra time, I've got extra time. Contractors all have extra time and markup that you would be able to
and
say.
that will come in front of the board of selectmen.
that would,
anyhow.
yeah, that would probably come in front of us. I don't think that was a contract we,
Understood, I just want to make sure we're
I'm sure he
capturing,
can break every,
it's not just the disposal of this additional material, it's all the
Towing times, everybody's.
yeah,
the 62 cents a mile too.
yeah.
All right. And also, with the senior center. Police station, discussion of closeout items. Planning board fence request.
It's called the planning board fence.
What are you looking at me for? It's not my fence.
All right,
Which fence are we talking about?
so he wants,
That'd be the impound.
It said planning board, now you
I'm
just said
sorry,
hey.
I'm sorry. The planning board wants to move it to the top of the neighbors instead of putting it on the police station property. Am I
That's where it is
correct?
going. That's where it is going.
No, it was gonna go right next to the chain link fence.
Not,
Oh, no.
Not the
Oh,
original one we looked at.
The one that we've already sent them pictures and drawings and we're gonna put it about a foot from the other fence, that one?
Yeah, like 3 feet out, yeah.
Okay.
But now they want,
They suggested we put it on top of the abutters, so the abutters can't see the parked cars in the parking lot.
But that's pretty rough up there.
It's not bad, it's not really rough, I haven't talked to that woman, she has not been a part of any.
She has never,
conversation,
right,
Except that she signed the,
in case we go over the
the
land.
thing that we can go over the land to get to where we gotta go.
Will they assume the cost of maintenance of this now that's on their property?
That's what I thought the whole initial
I think that's
legal
assumed in the first
requirement
one.
was.
So where will the one that we currently have end, and then that will start, or will it just continue?
No, it won't continue.
No,
So there'll be an opening and then a little piece of fence?
we propose to put it down next to the, this is the impound fence.
Yeah,
Right along this, straight on this line over here. And the
where it's
planning,
going now is here?
yeah, and then the planning board wants to put it up on the hill.
They're-
Well, they didn't, I talked to them about it, they said they didn't really want to, they just suggested it. They really don't care either way, it was more of a suggestion than a request. They're not gonna hold up the whole thing over
well,
this.
I think we should leave it where it is, because only for maintenance, so, because.
Well, they were suggesting a smaller fence, because it's on the hill. It may save some money, but then I'm thinking, you got residents with a 8
Well,
foot,
if you
some of
put
them
it
only got
up,
6
you
foot.
put a 6 foot
You know.
versus putting it 2 feet down, you need, you know.
That's what I
taller
was saying.
fence.
So
And
the-
I can only see,
But it'll be fence, 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 then open, 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 then one little piece of fence there. So if you're standing here, you don't see the fence, but if you're standing here, you see
Yeah.
the, but if it's
Mhm.
right there, if
It's
it's
tucked
right
up.
there on this, doesn't matter where you stand, you're not
agree.
gonna see that
And we
fence.
already got the price, didn't we, to do it
yes,
where we.
and they also suggested we move the main fence, add another panel or two, because you can see the patio where the police have their little patio out back.
Patio with
There's
the
a
fence around it?
No, it's not really all the way around, it just there's like a little piece in front of it, and it's open, and you can see the third house clearly from if you're on that patio. They suggested adding a panel or two. Just a suggestion.
And that was on property of people who already have signed the
No,
agreements?
that's down,
No, that's
that
at
would
the
be,
police
yeah, that would be
station.
on the property of the people that
That
are.
is my
Patio
email to
fence
you.
was there for the
That is
privacy of
putting
the
a
officers.
fence in the middle of what is
That
a
would
drainage
That would
swale.
only add,
Takes all the water
There's an
behind the
opening as well.
building.
$380 per panel. So if you add two more panels, it's another seven.
But Tony made a good point, that's in the middle of the drainage, but if you put that in there.
No, it's up on the hill.
Are you going west from the
This is
current?
the original fence.
Yeah, the
behind-
fence at the patio.
Yeah.
We're talking about the fence at the
Leave it
patio.
Well, that fence, we're not
Oh, no,
talking about
you're
that
not-
fence.
He's not adding
We're
it
talking about
to
the fence
that.
we're gonna
He's adding
add,
it to the,
To the,
coming off
Yeah.
of.
between the
12.
two
the
residents.
new fence.
Okay.
So 2 more panels?
They suggested, then it blocks every house from that patio.
So the board recently voted on that, and that's what they
They
suggested?
sent us an email, do you have it, Nina?
Yeah, I have the
I don't think
email, and I
there's a
have Tony's comments where he sent it out to everybody today. So the 2 points were, number 1, the fence along the east end of the building looks good, but might it be possible to extend it westward another 8 to 10 feet or so to block the view of the patio from the windows of the house at 41 Horseshoe Drive? Tony's response was, there's a segmental block retaining wall in line with the current fence. Adding fence beyond the segmental wall will interfere with the drainage swale. There were small evergreens planted at the top of the slope that will take a few years to grow in. This was by design and on the approved plans.
Okay, but Tony realizes that the fence extension is in the different fences being extended, not
Yeah,
the,
it's not the one
not
that,
the patio fence.
yeah. It's the new vinyl fence.
It's a copy in the packet.
Oh, there is?
What are we
How
talking
many
about for
sections are
cost
there
to
now?
do this?
Oh, go ahead.
26,
So 2 more, you got 26, and they're asking for 2 more panels.
that'll bump it from 9,880 to 10,640.
We already budgeted for that.
So there was discussion at a certain planning board meeting that brought this up, do you know?
They went, I did a site visit last Thursday,
Last Thursday.
The planning board did?
yeah. And I was there a couple days ago with the police, and you can clearly see that third house.
Resident of said third house came out to visit while I was there with Sergeant Papandera.
Okay. So the fence would be a good thing then, or not?
I've talked to
Oh,
those,
she doesn't want the fence?
they've been,
Was a he. He
Oh.
didn't want the fence. He'd rather have bushes.
Oh, I talked to the woman.
Bushes are less intrusive than fence.
Well, then putting the,
they have never reached out to, I know the people.
And he
they've-
doesn't want to complain about anything that's there.
They've never reached out, I've talked to them about the property, and they've never had an issue with it.
I can tell you shrubs are difficult in a shaded area. They get kind of scraggly, they
Right.
get full, so Evergreens don't do well in shade, so you're not gonna get a shrub to go well there.
So I just want, we budgeted the money for the fence before. That was in our budget, so now we're gonna extend it for another
Two sections.
$800 more, is that what you said?
Yeah, it's like 380 times 2.
But we're not on that land.
I don't believe so. We're still
You
behind.
think that, it looked pretty rough there, but you think the guy at the fence?
Yeah, I brought him out there. I brought Patriot out there.
Okay.
Butch, can you clarify that? You said that the fence would not be on a butter's
I have to
property?
check for sure, but I don't think it will be. It's right behind the guy's wood pile.
Oh, there's a little shed there too,
Yeah,
isn't there?
little
So
shed, so
how
we'll-
close are we gonna be?
Well, we'll be behind the shed, but up on top of the slope, but behind the shed, so,
So on the very edge of our line.
pretty much, yeah, but on their property, I believe. But they know
But it
that.
is on their property, you're saying?
It's on the first and second house's property, not the third house.
Okay, got it.
Oh, it's on the second.
Yeah, well,
I don't,
the extension would be on the second, yeah. He added.
So we gotta spend $800 to put this to bed, and it's done.
Money aside, architect at OPM, what do you guys recommend? I mean, I don't know the land as intimately as you guys do.
It's, well, I guess it's, you wanna go over and above and be a good neighbor.
well, no, I don't, yes, I wanna go over and above, but the neighbors aren't asking for this. So we're not doing it for the neighbors, we're doing it because,
Planning board
Requested
considers
it.
and there's-
yeah, right, because the neighbors up till now are very happy with what we're doing.
We haven't heard from any of the neighbors.
Yeah,
Just that first meeting you and I had, and John.
yeah. And the police aren't asking for it.
If the
Well,
neighbors are
the police are-
satisfied,
police are kind of
aren't
asking
asking
for
for it, the planning board saying, hey, you might want to think about,
Another
why do
seven-
anything?
It's roughly
Thought
another
about it.
$700. I'm just clarifying.
So we can either go with the original plan or add the other two sections,
Or one section.
or one section.
Half a section.
If the neighbors are happy and the police aren't asking for it, and the planning board isn't saying this has to be done, I don't know why we would spend $800 of taxpayers' dollars when nobody except the planning board made a suggestion and nobody involved in the project is looking for it.
So first of all, the first one, we're gonna keep the fence where it originally is. We're not gonna put it up on the hill, correct?
Yeah, that's where it was originally.
Yeah, down
Yes.
at the bottom.
The
The
first-
first one behind the
Behind the impound lot,
impound
Yeah,
lot.
okay.
That's
That
gonna
one's-
stay where it was.
Yeah, that's a good place for it, yeah.
Now the other one,
we're just gonna keep the way it is, sounds like. So you guys want to,
I mean, I can always shift it more towards, and start it a little bit,
that's a good.
4 feet, 5 feet maybe, and get a little extra on the other end.
What does it do to the front end or the back end, depending on how you're looking at it? Is that,
He was the most friendly, the first house, he was like, I really don't care what you do, put it here. So we kind of started it right at a big tree. We'll just move it away from the tree a little bit, and push it the other way a little
what's
bit.
going to be, what's his view from that end of that fence
He
through
can
that
see the
tree?
parking lot in the front of the police station, but he can already see that. It doesn't really block his house, it's really the second house is really the one that is completely blocks everything. The first house, he's kind of, and I'll talk to him if we do anything different, but
Why don't we do
let
that?
Butch reach out to him and
Yeah, okay.
see
he
what,
seemed pretty unconcerned.
So we don't need to take any action, because we're gonna keep it the way it was.
So both the impound fence and the abutters fence, as I'll call it,
Yep.
will stay as planned.
I guess the only thing we can add to that is Butch is gonna
Yeah, we'll
talk to
just
him about maybe.
massage the location a little bit.
Yeah, make it.
All right.
I have one question about the police station. We were there yesterday. There's a stretch of area that doesn't have grass. Is
Yeah.
that the contractor or
Gonna bring that
someone?
up. There's all kinds of mulch tubes still there from the construction.
Oh,
They're all-
from the water, keep the water?
Yeah, the grass is all fully
Pick those
At
grown.
the back of the parking lot?
Yep.
Yeah, those are still there, plus that
And there's some-
stretch of where we dug is all just
Yeah, and there's some
solid
lumen
dirt.
seed they probably need to do.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we'll call
Finish
RIC
it
and
up.
get Conley back there. to-
Behind the building, I noticed it's very barren, is that?
If we can get grass
I didn't-
back.
Tony, I don't think you were here the last
They're
meeting.
supposed to
Remember,
move the grass.
I pointed out that smashed curb
Grass will come back this year?
way back when.
Grass looks great
You know if that got
everywhere
fixed?
except behind the building.
Can you check into that?
Behind,
Yeah.
oh, you talking about all the way up the hill, or?
Toward, no, behind it, like if you're at the front, on the Horseshoe Drive side. There's a really barren area out there.
Yeah, it's all just
By the
hard-
parking
hard
lot.
dirt.
It's like hard pan, it doesn't
Yeah.
look like there's any loom there.
I'll review it.
But yeah, take a look.
Yeah, it looks
The mulch
like
tubes
that.
I noticed today and around the mulch tubes, there's
Where
a
the
lot
plow,
of
where
area
the plow
that
brings
needs.
snow, that's all has,
Yeah, they were supposed to-
The lawn looks great. except
the
for
lawn looks great.
where the mulch tubes are. And then they need some lumen seed once they pull them out of there.
Getting long too, it needs to be mowed.
We mowed it today. Gotcha.
All right,
So it must look very nice.
It does.
So, other report on the police station, the elevator has now been working since the last motherboard went in, gets used every day. They have not had any problems with it since last reported outage, which was somewhere the end of March. March 27th. So, good news.
So what's the reference date for the one-year warranty? Is it the original install?
It's like, it's in October, I think.
But I think we asked them if they could extend it on that issue, because we had an issue,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We did, and we didn't get a response back from the contractor, though.
No.
But we told them that we were expecting it because of this clause in the contract.
And what about the vent?
The heating?
Cells are okay, interview room off the lobby is still very hot.
The air system that we're talking about, that the contractor fixed, that's done, it worked. We're getting the right CFMs, and everything's working, we passed the codes. What we have, though, is a separate issue in that the interior interview room gets overheats. And part of that is because it's on a thermostat that's not in the room, it's sharing a thermostat with a couple other spaces. And that other space is the hallway. And the hallway, it would be fine if it were a hallway all by itself, but this hallway's open to the kitchen. The kitchen is an exterior room. The kitchen had a thermostat, and they're fighting each other. So we talked to the controls people today, and they had two recommendations. One would be just tie those two thermostats together, because somebody's moving one thermostat one way, and sometimes the other thermostat goes the other way, and neither one's getting satisfied. If that doesn't work, then the more significant change would be to move the thermostat. So we're going to try the first one to see if that solves the problem. If it does, great. If not, we may have to move the thermostat.
How about the statement you made that some person's putting it up, some person's, if they have control like that, how do we control how much money's being spent there? If someone turns it up and then goes out?
Well, it's
we'll call.
programmable, so anybody who had access to
they
the
do it-
program could do that, but there's a dead band on the sensors of only 4 degrees. You can only move it up or down 2 degrees. So you're not getting somebody, going crazy. So that's what all modern buildings are like.
But if you tie them together and they have different, whatever, airflow requirements, aren't you
Yeah.
gonna end up with one room always being too warm and one too cool?
I don't, could be.
Or they blend.
But they're separated.
Right, and it only happens late at night. It doesn't happen during the day. So it happens when the units go into standby and there's less amount of air. So they could probably explain it better to you than I could, but this is their first approach and second approach to resolving that issue.
Who is on the hook for paying for this, them or us?
Them.
I think that.
And they've come back and they've
Not
been
for the
working on
thermostat
it.
location. If the thermostat has to be moved, that's,
Well, if they designed it wrong, who designed
no,
it?
the thermostat, we put the thermostat in.
They
So you're on the
design
hook
where
for
the
it. We're on the hook.
thermostat goes.
So, yeah, as long as it doesn't cost us anything, let's fix it.
Wouldn't it be easy to just move the thermostat though?
That would be
Easy to move.
difficult.
All they have to do right now is electronically log in and change something to see if we can sort of tandem those two things there. So that's a no-cost change.
All right, anything else on the police station?
I have one quick one. You know that dead tree behind the police station? Every time I go there, they point that out to me.
Yep.
It's on the abutter's property, and it's leaning over towards the police station.
The one that wasn't, oh,
It's really, really dead. But there's a part of it that's,
On 41.
that's alive.
Shoot.
Yeah. Should we do something with that?
Get in there.
It looks like it's gonna fall in the police station if it falls.
Get in there and do it?
It's on private property. I mean, I'm sure I
Gotta
could,
get it
I
from the abutters
could, I could
property.
request
which house
permission.
is it? Is it one of the
I think
ones we
it's-
have?
I think it's 41, like you said.
41.
It's,
Can't the tree warden order trees cut down that are on private property?
I know the building inspector does.
I don't know, but something needs to be done. That's gonna fall. It's
I mean,
gonna fall on the
there was
police
a
station.
giant pine tree on my neighbor's property that somebody told them to take it down. They didn't do it by them,
Yeah, we can look into the bylaws on that,
Yeah, the building inspector, I think, is charged with
but,
No, you're the tree warden, aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah, he's the tree warden.
that.
Well, order yourself to take it down then.
I'll have to see if it's legal for me to order myself to take it down.
Oh,
I mean, I'll have no problem taking it down.
is this the one of the ones that we already have permission for the fence?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about taking any trees down.
No, permission to go on that property.
It's just past it. It's right past where the fence ends.
So it's on the other
I
people?
think it's on 41, like
The
John
last
said.
house?
Yeah,
the
the
one
third
that-
house.
That
The
have
one
been
that can
very-
see the patio.
It's between the third and the second house.
Second house, yeah, no, third house.
You reach
I'm
out.
not sure
you-
exactly where it
You've
is.
talked to them and they,
No, the police have been talking to me about it. Every time I go over there, they jump all over me about that tree, because it looks like it's gonna fall on the
So-
police station. I think they're
If
right.
you want, can you send them a letter?
Yeah, I can do that, but it doesn't, I don't know if I can guarantee, I don't know if I can make them take it down.
but that's the one you've talked to the people and they're like, you know, they're no problem, right?
No, this is a third house. I haven't talked to them about anything. I sent them a letter. She called me up and wanted me to clean up the
Would you
backyard.
make them take it down at their cost or at your, at the town's cost?
Hey, while you're here, clean my backyard.
So she was really unconcerned about the fence. But I didn't know about the tree when I talked to her.
Well, I think, we might be spending public money on private property, but it's also protecting the town, because if that tree falls, it's gonna fall right in the police
Yeah,
station.
no question.
I'm,
It's bad.
my neighbor's tree came down, and this woman loved this tree, and somebody from this town either took it down or told them to take it down. Because it was,
They took it down.
say again?
I doubt the town took it down.
I doubt that they would have spent the money to take it down.
Yeah, that's the issue, yeah. I mean,
And
I'll
it's a
take
big
it down.
tree.
It's
So
a big
you-
tree. I mean, we can take it down, but
You need
I gotta
to
go
get
across the yard to get to it.
You need to get a, tree service to do it,
Yeah, oh, yeah,
so we gotta get a price, obviously.
yeah.
Well, why don't we get a price?
Okay.
We have an option at least, I mean.
I'll check the bylaws too, and I'll talk to the
It
abutter.
falls on the buildings, so it costs a lot more.
Yeah, it's leaning right.
Tomorrow, try to make a meeting with the tree warden and see what he has to say.
I'll check his schedule. Yeah.
All right, approval of invoices. Valley Communication System Incorporated, invoice number 647-393.
I didn't see
What do you got left?
the invoices in it.
Invoice.
I didn't bother to put them in the packets.
All right.
The invoices,
Yes.
it's all that connection of
Thank
the
you.
audio visual. So it includes the controls, the different HDMI plates that were needed, amplifier system, stereo mixer,
This is at the-
ceiling
This invoice
speakers.
is for the police station.
Yep, this is all the AV work that we talked about and approved before. This is the final price, and as you saw last night, it was all installed. The wires are all neatly behind the walls now.
Yeah, so it wasn't part, this was all on and above the initial design, all this stuff?
You had a separate line item budget for AV equipment outside of the general contractor's work.
And this is coming out of that?
Yep.
So moved?
Second.
This is, this,
Yeah, we had talked about this before. We're trying to get clarity. Was this gonna get rid of all the wires hanging out of the wall?
it did.
It did,
It did,
yeah.
we were there yesterday, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what, I doubt that was the 7,200, but I'm sure there was.
All that
she
Well, it was
listed
the
a-
wire and the equipment. They now have microphones tied into the speaker, you have amplifiers, the wires, the whole bit.
Do you know off the top of your head what the budget line item was? Is this within the budget?
It was when you approved them to go ahead with the work, so yes.
Okay.
But I don't recall what the budget number
As long as
was.
it's not, I mean.
You had previously authorized the work and the expenditure. This is just the invoice.
This would be pretty close to the last thing from the police station, I would think.
Fence and trees.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
CBA invoice number 5746 for $79.51.
No way.
Invoice 5747 for $8,700. Invoice 5761 for $5,355.
You have to read the copies. The first two we-
Invoice
last time we met, the first two were there.
5747 for $8,700 is $6,000 for the acoustical and $2,700 for the kitchen designer for the senior center.
Share of it, we split that cost.
Right, but that's the total of those two line items which were budgeted and carried in your budget. and authorize expenditures at a previous meeting. 5761 for $5,355 is their typical invoice that you'll see moving forward for CA, Construction Administration.
Right, it reflects 6% of construction administration.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, REC Bills Incorporated, invoice number 1 for $238,020.
That is their first invoice application for payment, reviewed and amended, or amendments were recommended by John and I. That is their final, as approved through the end of April.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
You didn't get outside while I was light
Yeah,
enough to
well, I'm
pick
trying to get
colors.
outside, well,
right.
it's a little bit light up.
Okay.
You said you want
Yankee Engineering and Testing invoice number 24837 for $2,185.
That is for Proctor, Sieve, and soil sampling for all of the various contract soils that RAC is bringing in, structural fill, common borrow, sand for bedding and utility trenches, all of the various soils that need to be tested, in addition to on-site soils, which they're testing certain segregated pile to see if it can be used on-site.
This was not an ad, this is in the original.
It's in their proposal, it's in your budget.
Okay.
You've seen and reviewed all of these invoices?
We get them all, the building inspector gets copies of them all, the structural engineers get copy, so that we know what piles are being segregated, what soils are coming into the site and from where.
Yeah, motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cardinal invoice number 7 for $27,061.
This must be the,
This is
Assumes,
the last one, and this is one that was a late submittal, and it's complicated. I was talking to Tony about it earlier. So it's the last payment, but it also assumes change order number 1 has been approved, which we never received, so it hasn't been recommended for approval by Fisp, and it hasn't been voted for approval by the selectmen yet. We have now the change order number 1. Brent Arthod sent it over this afternoon. So it's basically to cover the expenses associated with Terracon costs and, where is it? It's
It was
pass
the
through
Terracon
cost.
and Cogswell.
Yep, that's right.
Cogswell Sprinkler did all of the flow testing at the various hydrants during pre and during the design phase.
So I'm thinking these must have been talked about at the site meetings, but it was never brought forward to this group. So we have a couple actions we have to take tonight or could take tonight. We should probably vote the Cardinal invoice minus the value of the change order, and then vote the change order value separately, with the condition that the selectmen have to approve change order number 1. We also have another part that Yankee Testing was owed $558 by Cardinal and was never paid it, and they're asking that their amount be separated out of this $27,000. So you have a decision to make as to whether or not you want to do that, or just pay Cardinal, the amount, and tell Yankee that they should be getting their $558 soon.
Was the Yankee 558 was, is that part of a change order, or is that just a bill that was submitted? I mean, what did
why'd it go
that?
through Yankee? And why'd it go through Cardinal? Is that what you're?
Well, let me add to the complexity. I'll try to clarify, but I think it's going to make the matter more complex. The $500 that Yankee is requesting, I received a phone call from them regarding that outstanding invoice, actually comes from the police station. This $27,000 invoice is for work at the senior center. So it was, Terracon's piece was the drilling and the borings, and that's why I have to imagine that we had that proposal approved in the minutes
I looked in the
somewhere.
minutes and I don't see it.
Wow. Because that would have been a significant conversation of, we got pricing, we're gonna have them come and drill and all that. And that would have been not in December, but we did that work early in the design phase,
Oh, so it'd be more like
you know,
September,
probably
August?
in summer.
Oh, I didn't go back that far.
And I can find those dates for you.
Okay.
So which one was the police station
But
out of this?
558, the Yankee.
the 550 that Yankee is looking for is some testing that they're saying Cardinal did not pay from the police station. So I caution just holding money out of one contract, even though it's the same company, it gets a little
So,
convoluted.
because Cardinal didn't pay Yankee, they want us to pay him?
They would like you to pay him direct,
Did we not pay Cardinal?
but I think you've paid Cardinal everything that I know that you were.
Right, so I think
Station.
Cardinal might owe him the 558, not us.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not saying you owe it to them.
Then we can't take it out.
They're saying they would like you to pay them the 500.
Oh, and take
because they didn't
558
get
out of this new amount we
Cardinal.
own.
And if you owe Cardinal money on a different project,
No
you
way.
pay me.
No way.
And that's why I'm saying. it
No
gets
way.
That's a can of worms.
Complicated.
That's a can of worms.
Absolutely not.
So,
Now, what you can do is
It's a
you can
different
hold
contract,
Cardinal's check and say, hey, Brent, why aren't you paying them? If there's some legitimate reason he's not paying a sub-vendor on a previous project of yours, then,
Rather than the town get involved, I would rather see this resolved through Cardinal and let them, Cardinal hired him, right? Let them resolve it themselves, what they care about issues, but we're still not gonna pay a third party.
No.
Yeah.
And we've already paid, I don't know if, I'm not comfortable with holding money from Cardinal's invoice for the senior center.
No, I
for-
wasn't aware that it was a police station, so, okay.
So,
It's a different contract.
yeah, so the answer is no, we're not paying the 558 to anybody.
Right.
so we're going back to the 27,061.
Right,
We're
so
not
then-
taking the 558
Correct,
out.
so now the only question is, I would recommend that if you vote to approve this tonight, work's been done, that you do it in two votes, that you approve the $27,061 minus the $10,400. And then have that be one approved payment that you recommend the selectmen process. And then have a vote to approve change order number 1 to cover those two invoices. And then also approve the payment of the $10,400, or recommend payment of the $10,400 conditional to the selectmen signing the change order.
So it's 16,661.
861, unless I did math wrong. 660, I did the math wrong.
Oh, my God.
I'm just an accountant.
So I just want
I
to
did it right this way.
understand
They're
this.
just numbers.
So it's, the change order for $10,400 is above and beyond, or is this a change?
Our original contract value for this phase of work for Cardinal was the $68,100. With this requisition, they added in this change order number 1 at the value of $10,400, which equals the Cogswell payment, which they have made. They sent canceled checks to show it, and the Terracon invoice, which they have paid, they sent a canceled check. So there's proof that they paid those on the town's behalf under them. And now they're saying that, there was discussion about this change order, but in order for us to pay them for that, we need the change order approved and signed. We're not going to process payment
So
without it.
the total we will pay them is $78,000?
Right, the new revised contract value would be $78,500, and the math does tie out.
What is the nature of the 10,400 change order?
Terracon for the geotech, which is structural needed in order to design the foundation, and the flow test of the hydrants to determine the water pressure for the fire suppression system.
So had we give them verbal authorization to proceed?
Yes, you did. I think you gave me voted permission to proceed, or else I wouldn't have proceeded.
Okay.
But I don't have access to any of my documents.
So we're gonna have to find that in the email.
So does the 558 comes out of the police station budget?
Yeah.
Still not a huge deal, but just to keep things straight.
But, right, the
We're not
558, we're just ignoring. We're not doing anything.
No, we're just, oh, no, it doesn't come out. We're just gonna pay Cardinal, and he's supposed to pay them.
Tell them to pay.
We already
We've
have.
already paid Cardinal.
Right, so this, we're just gonna go, so you want two separate, you want the 16,661, and then the 10,400 once the Board of Selectmen
Sign the
approve.
change order.
Change order, so
And-
moved.
And as follow-up, you just want to make sure you've paid final invoices to Cardinal for the police.
Well, you said it all adds up to that 70-something thousand,
It
right?
does.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
And
did-
again, these are both for the senior center.
Yes, this is all.
Right,
senior
this is
center.
all senior center.
So it's-
And then I guess just a note to Cardinal telling him, please pay the 558 to that guy, because he's asking us to pay it.
Well, do we know why it's not being paid?
Just might have been.
Has anyone had a conversation with him? So, I mean, if, I don't want this guy giving us a lot of grief trying to collect from us directly, so, to tell him pending, the vote of the selectmen, for them to move forward with that 10-4, like confirmation that you've paid off this 558.
But the 10-4 is,
It's unrelated, but it's leverage.
Well, this gentleman, this guy can't come after the town for this, because
Right. No, they can't.
his agreement was with Cardinal. He's gotta call Cardinal and say, just pay me my 558. We're talking $1 million project, and we're talking about, so I made that motion to do it in
I haven't
separate.
heard a second.
second,
All right, any discussion?
What was the motion again, specifically?
To pay the 16,661 and hold the 10,400 until the Board of Selectmen approve change order number.
To approve it conditional upon the selectmen
Correct.
signing the change order.
That's it.
So the 16103 is it?
No, it's 16, because we added the 558 back in to make it 27,061.
So it's 16.
But the 558 was only taken out if we were gonna pay directly,
Okay.
but we owe it to them.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with the police station.
Okay.
And we're doing nothing with the 558.
No.
No.
It's just, it's up to him.
So we have a motion, a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
I-
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Anything else on the, anything else? Anybody else have anything else?
Yeah, I guess two questions that unfortunately related to future projects. So in the Finance Committee's review with the fire department, the chief was pushing for when do I get attention? And I said he needs to make arrangements to meet with the committee and have that discussion firsthand. So I don't know if he's made that request or not, but it would be coming. And when we met with the schools, they said they were going to be scheduling a time to discuss a proposal to do a evaluation of building needs for the schools. Has that
Yep, they've
happened?
actually, they've asked the chair to allow them to meet with Fisp one day early in June, so rather than meeting on June 13th, it's going to be June 12th. That's because our meetings coincide with school committee meetings. So John had said that we would talk about that as being the next meeting date.
instead of the 13th?
Correct. So it'd be that Tuesday.
Um,
Anything else, Rick?
No, those are 2 points. But are we making a decision about this meeting on the
We're
12th?
gonna set the date yet. So, is it, everybody else, June 12th, okay? 7 o'clock?
Okay.
Yes, agree?
Yeah, I'm putting it in my calendar as we speak, because if I don't, I won't be here.
Same deal.
If it does, it won't be.
June 12th, 7 o'clock.
June 12th, 7 o'clock's our next meeting, and we're saying part of the agenda is gonna be
On school.
the school committee or someone is gonna talk about, so would the building of a new school, I guess that's what they're asking for, would that come in front of this committee? Or do they have is it the school?
They have their own
Yeah,
construction
I don't think
committee,
we would we,
but it's a town building.
They want to have an entry discussion on how we're going to handle the process. I think their thinking is they want to sponsor a building needs study, and it wouldn't surprise me if they would be looking for funding of some fashion, or how would we suggest they proceed with that?
that would come in front of this committee? I'm just wondering, I don't want them come here and find out that it's not this committee that does that, like a study, we wouldn't.
The study would probably be funded, I'm assuming, out of a capital request?
I think they just want to discuss it, what's the approach going to be? We haven't put any major building needs on the agenda for this committee. We want to put in a placekeeper, we want to talk about what we're thinking about. I don't know if they plan to fund the study themselves, or they want to go to town meeting, or whatever.
I would just ask, before they come here, they ask us, or ask you, Anita, what they're looking at, just so we can have some answers, so we won't be doing the same thing at the meeting with them. If they give us the questions, maybe we can do some research and see if it goes in front of us, if it goes...
What I was told by the superintendent jives with what they told you at the finance committee meeting, that they weren't looking to ask anything of anybody yet. They wanted to start to have preliminary conversations about what they're looking at in their 5-year plan. And a big part of that is looking at future facility needs. And so I think that they recognize that that's going to be a big hurdle for the town to start looking at, and they wanted to start the conversation sooner rather than later.
Right, because it's not like we have a budget. So anything that we decide to do, we need to go to a ballot box or whatever to get the money, so, okay.
All right, so June 12th, anything else, anybody?
Anita, can you, in future packets, just put the invoices, copies of the invoices we're going to be voting on?
Phil?
Just a quick fundraising report. I'm going to become a member of the Friends Board on Wednesday, the next meeting. So I'll be on the board of directors of Friends of the Senior Center. We're finishing up now research on a planned giving program, and we'll begin to write the materials for that. There'll be a mailing, we'll have a pamphlet, display in the new center, so people can think about leaving the Friends money in their wills that can be used for an endowment for the center. The Friends is getting close, maybe the next 6 weeks, to doing their annual mailing, which raises about $4,000. Hopefully, we can jazz up the flyer a little bit and raise a little bit more this year. And that's about it for now. But we're trying to build we've created 2 accounts, an endowment account and a capital account in the Friends account roster, so that we have a place to put money that we raise, especially if it's designated for the endowment, for example.
Is there any talk of bricks and things like that yet, or that hasn't
I
even...
beg your pardon?
Bricks and selling bricks,
Oh.
any of that started?
It's not started, but it's, I've talked about that with Nancy Barakian, the chair of the Friends. We definitely plan to do that, and set up that program. But once I get on the board of the Friends, a lot is going to happen relatively quickly, because I've sort of lacked the imprimatur of the Friends to go forward and do this. Now I can call people and say, hi, this is Phil Mallett with the Friends of the West Boylston Senior Center, right? So that should expedite that.
Also, one of our volunteer grant writers prepared 4 letters that can be sent to foundations, Walmart, Weinberger, I can't remember the name of the 2 others.
Yeah, Cumberland
And-
Farms.
Yep, so those have been sent through Phil to the Friends.
Right.
Because those would be technically coming.
And Lisa
from
and I are
Friends.
working on those, and I will be sitting down with Nancy Barakian to work on those. We may wait to send those until we decide or recruit a high-level person, preferably a chief executive officer of an in-town corporation, where we can have him send a cover letter to the CEO of the foundation that he's sending it, so we get, the right level of
Right.
beginning of the solicitation.
So is this all going through the Friends now? There's not
Yes.
gonna be a separate fundraising committee?
Well, we will be able to do a fundraising committee through the Friends, but it will go through the Friends.
So all
Because
this
they're a
money-
501c3.
So all the money is gonna be in control of what they do with it?
That's right, but we will be writing we'll be writing in something in the bylaws that states how the money can be used and who makes the decisions about the money. The bylaws of the Friends. Okay? Because Lisa's concerned about the Council on Aging should have the ability to dictate where the funds are gonna go. We're also meeting with the Worcester Foundation. As you may know, they pool 501c3 endowments and get a little bit higher interest rate. And the woman that runs that, Nancy, speaks of her highly, and we're gonna talk to her about the planned giving program and other things that we're gonna do.
As far as the CEO, Curtis was very happy with everything this town did. Might wanna talk
Well,
to him.
I don't want to mention it here, right, on the television, because, you know, I don't want people to hear, you know, what we're thinking about in terms of personalities. But you're absolutely right, and that's the one we're gonna go after.
So
And
now you mentioned it.
well, it was quiet, and Steve McGradishin has agreed to help.
Okay, good.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you.